Okay, so this is going to be an instructional / overview video of this brand new 26 model Burstner B66 690 TD. First of all, we're going to go around the external of the motorhome and then we will go into the habitation area. As you can see externally, we have an awning connected to this vehicle. On an email you'll get sent a separate link how to set up and use the awning. First thing I'm going to show you is how to open the bonnet. Two reasons for this. One, so you know how to open the bonnet, and then two, I will show you the terminal points in case you need to jump start the vehicle for any reason. So to open the bonnet, what you need to do is come around to the passenger door and then open the passenger door, and you'll see at the side of the dash just there is the bonnet release catch. All you need to do, pull that down once and that will then release. Also, while we are in the cab area, we do have blackout blinds on driver and passenger door. So all you need to do, slide this tab, follow the guideline all the way to the top, and then all you need to do, as you can see there, lock into place, and that is exactly the same on the driver's door as well. On the front windscreen as well is a blackout blind, so there's a blind on each side. There's a little tab here you just need to release. You'll slide them across and they will meet in the middle on a magnetic strip. In this glove box here, there is a cable. So that cable is to connect to the stereo just here for your Android or Apple Connect. Also, underneath this passenger seat, you'll see all your 12-volt fuses at the back. It's hard to show you here, but they are all at the back in the 12-volt box. So this is where you will come to. They're all labelled, so this is where you will come to if one of the 12-volt fuses does blow in the motorhome. As you can see, I've now got access to the bonnet area. So like I say, if you need to jump start the vehicle for any reason, here on this nipple here we have your negative terminal point, and then down here, which is under this black cover here, that is going to be your positive terminal point. So that's your positive, your negative is just here to jump start the vehicle. And then obviously you have got other compartments in here, and then your screen wash fill is in front of the driver. So now we are going to carry on around the external of the motorhome, and we'll carry on the passenger side. So the first compartment you do come to is going to be next to the passenger door, and this is where your diesel fill and AdBlue fill is. So your diesel fill, you just need to use your vehicle blade key to access that, and then your AdBlue is just a screw cap just below. The next compartment we come to is going to be your service locker. So here is your fresh water tank, which can hold 120 litres. So if you want to fill up, all you need to do is take this blue cap off, like so, and then your motorhome will come with a spill flap. Basically, hook that on like so, put your hose pipe in, and basically what that is for is, obviously if you forget that hose pipe is running, the water will then obviously hopefully drain out of the external of the motorhome and not come inside here. Once finished, put the cap back on. This black nozzle on the black tap on the top here, this is your drain valve. So basically twisting it to the left 2 full times will eventually close the valve completely, so then you can fill the fresh water tank up to 120 litres. If you want to travel with 20 litres in the fresh water tank, all you need to do is, from it being closed, quarter turn to the right, and that will then lift the valve up ever so slightly, drain the water tank down to a rough gauge of 20 litres. If you want to drain the fresh water tank completely empty, 2 full turns to the right, and that will lift up the valve, and all the content of the water will drain out of the fresh water tank directly underneath the motorhome. To the side of that, we have a frost protect valve, this black valve here. So basically, this valve you need to close if you want to fill up your boiler with water, and then obviously this valve is what you need to open when you are draining the boiler for when you're not using the motorhome. This valve is called a frost protect valve though. So when it hits 60 degrees or less, most of the time it is 3 degrees, it will automatically trigger. So basically it's a magnet inside, it will open the valve because it feels the cold air, and then obviously drain the water out of the boiler. So that's just a default thing, as in if you forget about it, that's just going to protect your boiler, because your boiler, obviously if it freezes with water in, it will expand and potentially split. So this little device is just going to try and protect it. Currently this valve is in the open position, and how I know this is down at the front there's a little blue button which is sticking out. So that means the valve is open position and will drain. So if I fill the boiler up, it will just pour straight out because this valve is open. To shut this, all you need to do, twist the diamond valve on top like so, and then push the blue button in. If the blue button stays in, great, that means it's shut. If you twist the valve on top and push the button in and it doesn't shut, it's because it's still too cold. So basically what you need to do is just get the heating on in the motorhome, because this is heated in here. Once the valve heats up a little bit, then you'll be able to shut it. The yellow valve to the side, that is just draining any pipework water. So currently in the vertical position, as you see it now, is in the drain position. And then if I want to shut this, because I'm filling up the motorhome with water, knock it down and that will then shut. Same again, obviously you need to lift that up if you want to drain any water out of the motorhome from the pipework. To trigger this valve manually yourself, the boiler valve to drain the boiler, all you need to do, twist, blue button pops out like so. That means the boiler is open and draining out. Here we have your boiler truma flue vent. So obviously you need to keep this clear at all times, because obviously when the boiler is on and burning on gas, this is where the fumes do exhaust from. Here we have your gas locker, so you can fit two tanks in here. You can get two 11/13 kilogram tanks in here, and then obviously you connect at the top up here onto the gas regulator. So this is a brand new motorhome, so this will come from factory with a grey, an orange hose. Directly below that we have your grey waste drain, and then you've got this little handle which slides on so, like so, and then to drain all you need to do is twist it. It's already open, there we go, twist it like so, quarter turn, and it will drain from this nozzle here. To shut it, twist it back, and then obviously that will shut. Here, to shut your lockers, all you need to do is twist. I've already done this, but basically put your Habitation key in here, 180 turn, and push that in like so. If that is sticking out, that means obviously the locker is still unlocked, but if that is flush, that means it's locked, so no one can obviously get inside. Here we have your external shower point. So you've got an external shower quick release connection which plugs into here. To release it, you just need to push this brass tab in. Here is your switch for the pump. So this will only work when obviously the 12 volt control panel is on in the motorhome and the pump is obviously switched on in the motorhome as well. One thing to keep in mind though, if you do leave this switched on, it doesn't have a on and off switch, so I don't know which way round this is at the moment, but basically what I'm highlighting here is if you've turned the pump on in the motorhome because you're using the motorhome and not the external shower, if this pump is left on by accident, this will just pump out all the water out your freshwater tank. So just be cautious with this switch here, that it's not left on, and then when you're pumping water in your sink, it's still pumping out here. Obviously you've got hot and cold as well. Obviously the hot will only work when you do heat up the hot water. Here, as you can see, I'm currently connected to Shore hookup. So this is like when you're at campsite. So just plug into here and this will give you one, obviously charge up your leisure batteries. It will give you two 40 volt sockets, so your 3-pin sockets as well. And also charge up your engine battery. As you can see, we've got large garage space. Got lights in here, so obviously don't keep these on when not using, because if you shut the garage door they will always be on when the 12-volt system's on, so then you're draining your leisure battery. We have got heated vents in here. So the garage is 2 heated vents, there's one on each side, so the garage is heated as well, which is great. You've got a tie down rail point, so you've got some high hooks at the other end there, so you can tie some bikes down and stuff like that. This is, because obviously brand new again, this is all your gubbins. Obviously that's your external shower, comes with an inflation kit, orange gas hose, and then obviously all your manuals as well. Like I said before, if that is sticking out like so, that means it's unlocked, so people can open it themselves. But obviously put your key in, 180 turn, push it in when it's locked flush, that means obviously it's locked. So that's everything on the passenger side. Now we are on the driver's side of the Habitation. Show you the other side of the garage. You've got your awning winder clipped up there, another heated vent down here, and then here we do have a 3-pin socket. So obviously this will only work when you are connected to mains hookup, because that's giving you 3 240 volt sockets, or 230 volt, but basically obviously you can plug into that, put pumps in there if you need to pump anything up externally or charge stuff in the garage, and you've got a light on this side as well. Next compartment, it says TV. Here basically we have external power. So under this blue tab here, this is 240, 230 volt socket. The only thing you need to do is get a European converter, because obviously this is German. You need to get an adapter for this. They don't put a 3-pin socket externally. So get a converter and that will give you 230, 240 power externally. This is a little micro 12 volt socket, and then you do have an aerial feed externally. One thing to keep in mind, this aerial feed in all the motorhome, it's just put in place, it's in the walls, so it's not actually active. You do have to use or get a third party aerial put onto the motorhome for the aerial to work. So all the aerials in the motorhome, you'll see the feed there, but the feed is just run behind the walls because it's easier at factory to run the cabling, so they are blanked off. Here we have your toilet cassette. So if you want to take out your cassette to clean or empty, lift it up, this blue tab here, lift it up, slide the cassette towards you, and that will then release. And as you can see, I've now got the cassette out. If I want to empty the cassette because it's full, this grey nozzle on the left, twist it out to the left, take this blue cap off, and basically all you need to do is tilt up the cassette. If you hold this button down at the top here, hold it down, this lets air into the top of the cassette, so all the fluids flow out a lot faster and easier. Also, you can open the cassette blade and clean internally as well if needed with a hose pipe. Then once you've finished cleaning it or emptying it, what you need to do is slide it back into place and just make sure that this blue tab is down secure, so then your toilet cassette is not going to move in transit when driving. Above that we have your external barbecue point. So this is a tap to obviously turn on the gas, and then behind this red cap here we have your quick release connection. So you do need to purchase a quick release connection to connect onto some orange hose. Basically plugs into there and then obviously connects up to an external barbecue or any gas appliance you are using. And then the last thing I'm just going to show you in the cab area is underneath the driver's seat. That is where your lithium leisure battery on this B66 range, on the TD lines, the leisure battery is now lithium. And obviously we've got your multi-function steering wheel, you've got electric handbrake on this one. So yeah, you've got quite a bit of kit in here. Now we are going to go into the habitation area. As you can see, we've got an electric fold out step, and I'll show you the control for where this is. Open the habitation door, and that is control for it. So all you need to do is press and hold and it will go in, and then obviously in reverse press and hold and it will fold out. So now I am in the habitation, as you can see. First of all, we're going to start with a control panel. So that's at the side of the habitation door. On the left hand side here we have your Truma heating control and hot water. On an email you'll get sent a separate link how to set up and use this heating Truma control. Here it's hard to see because this vehicle has got a drop down bed here, but I'm going to try and show you the best. So basically we'll start from the top left. Top left, if you press and hold, that will give you your leisure battery level. As you can see, the battery symbol, the rear of the vehicle. Press and hold and it will give you a light indicator there. This middle one here is your master on and off. So if you press that, it will turn obviously all the 12 volt off. Just to keep in mind, if you do turn it off, two of the lights here and your awning light will stay on because they're on a master switch here. Basically it's just a porch light, a welcome light back. If you obviously parked up somewhere dark, you've got some lighting so you can see straight away. So you always got to turn these lights off here, just these two, because they will stay on if you turn the 12 volt control panel off. So middle left, master on and off switch for the 12 volt system. Bottom left, press and hold, that's your vehicle battery level, which lights up on the left. Top right, you press and hold, no lights are coming up, but if you press and hold, if you filled the fresh water tank up, this will give you a blue light system on the right, giving you a rough gauge of your fresh water tank. The middle right is your water pump, obviously it's lit up there. Only want to turn your water pump on if you've got water in the system. If you haven't, leave it off just in case you open a tap ever so slightly. It's on a micro switch and basically that pump will run all the time until the tap is shut. So if you turn it off here, or like I said, make sure you've just got water in the system so it's not going to run dry. Bottom right is your grey waste. There's a nozzle at the bottom that's indicating it's draining out. Press and hold and that will light up red on the right hand side again, but currently it's empty. I'm just going to try and show you. Got the light in it which is reflecting there, but basically that little symbol in the middle which lit up with looks like a plug socket to the van, basically that's indicating that I'm connected to mains hookup. So as you're seeing externally, I'm plugged in practically, and so obviously that's giving me two 40 volt sockets, so that's indicating we have got sure connection. If you plug in and this doesn't light up, all you need to do is check the campsite post, because sometimes they trip or reduce the power they give you, or you will need to check your main breaker, which is under the single bed on the right hand side there, which we'll get to. So if the light is give you an indication that you're plugged in, then everything should work. If you plug in and there's no light there, like I said, it could be the campsite, it could be your main breaker what's tripped here. Try different campsite post, it could be a faulty cable, it could be a few different options. As you can see, we've got TV bracket. To release it, all you need to do is pull this tab down and obviously use your other hand to release the mechanism out. Here we have got a data cable. This data cable is actually connected to the Wi-Fi, because on the B66 range, on the TD lines, you do get Wi-Fi as well. So you get lithium battery, you get Wi-Fi as standard. So this is the data cable which is already connected to the router, which we will get to, just in case obviously your TV has got a data port you can plug straight in. As you can see, got 12 volt socket there, 3-pin socket, and again there's a SAT feed there, but like I said, they're just pre-wired in the motorhomes. We have got Type C and USB sockets dotted around, so they will work off your leisure battery on its own. So if you're off grid, then obviously they will work. 3-pin sockets need to be connected to campsite. As you can see, got swivel seats, driver and passenger. currently facing me. And then one little cool feature, this little switch here, if you turn it on, it will turn on the radio, so then obviously you can use the radio in the Habitation without the engine running. One thing to keep in mind on this though is to make sure to turn it off, otherwise if you go out walking or something, basically you will drain your leisure battery because the radio is left on. We've got a table here which is adjustable. This is on a solid pole, this one, but to slide the table around you need to open this. Currently that's in the not locked position, so then the table does slide back and forth and side to side. But to lock it in place, all you need to do is this tab, push it up, and that will just secure it so it's not going to slide around. Under here, got a little bench seat here which has got some storage right underneath, and as you can see below we have got some heated vents there. If you want to close this, push it like so, so it's closed. Some people, you can change the direction of these as well, just twisting them, so twisting the blade, and then point them different ways. And then sometimes if you want heat more in the back end of the motorhome, if you shut some of the vents at the front. One thing to keep in mind though is this vent here under the travel seats, that vent, and the one which is the far back there, always leave them open. The reason I say this is because if they are closed, because the boiler is under this seat here, the boiler is under this bench seat here, so if you keep them two closed, basically you'll get a fault on the boiler because the heat can't, because they're the closest to the boiler first, they produce most of the heat, but basically you'll come up with a fault with like a heat fault, like it can't get rid of it, it's overheated. So the boiler will overheat because obviously them two are first to vent out. Obviously you've got your two travel seats here, and then we have got a drop down bed in this one, but in this cupboard here is going to be your bed motor. So this little device here, this is what you need to use to wind down the bed or wind the bed up if the bed fails. So basically all you need to do is connect it into that hex nut there, and then you just wind away manually. You'll only need this. It's very rare you need it, but you'll only need it. The first one is because you've run out of power. So a way to get around that potentially is turning the engine on if you're off grid. Let the engine eventually trickle charge some battery through, and it might give you enough power to get the bed up. Second one could be fuses. One of the 12-volt fuses could have blown on the bed. Third one, it could be the motor. The motor could fail. It's very rare the motor. It's usually the most common one is the fuse. And the reason for that is because a lot of people leave the cushions on the bed. We recommend to take the cushions off. You've got your controls for the drop down bed and a safety key. So currently it's in the on position. All you need to do is press and hold, and it will come all the way down. But yeah, as I was saying, we always recommend to take the cushions off, basically, because this goes all the way to the top of the ceiling. The trigger point detects when it's at the top and stops. But if the cushions are on here, it's quite thick, so it's trying to squash them, and eventually it blows the fuse to protect things. So that is the most common one. You can leave your blanket on there, but like I said, we recommend to take your pillows off. You can leave them on, but then obviously if you left them on, you might have a gap at the top, but then obviously you've reduced your head height in the front lounge. So that's your drop down bed. So now we're going to go over the kitchen area. So you've got some storage in here, lots of drawers, and then cutlery drawer, and then this top one. We have two gas valves. Basically, these are just internal shut-off valves. So if one of the appliances goes faulty, you can isolate that appliance. So if your stove goes faulty, you can shut that off. So then obviously you can use the other appliances on gas. They're currently in the open position, so you don't need to touch them. Here we have your sink, but it has got a worktop cover as well, which just swings around. Now we're going to prime our system, so obviously I'm just going to speak this and run it dry. But basically what we need to do is shut all the valves in the motorhome. So we need to shut the freshwater tank valve because we're going to fill that up. We need to shut the black frost protect valve for the boiler, the blue buttons. We need to shut the yellow valve at the side of it, and then we need to shut our grey waste. So that is 4 valves you need to shut. Once you've shut all them, fill up the freshwater tank completely full. You'll come up to your 12 volt system up here, turn it on, and then turn on your pump. Then what we're going to do, come to your tap, open the tap on cold side, and basically the pump's going to kick in, pump water from the freshwater tank through the pipe work straight into your sink. Once you get a steady flow on the cold side, shut that, and then we're going to twist it to the hot. And what we're going to do now is open it, and then it's going to fill up the boiler first. So you're going to take water from the freshwater tank into the boiler. Your boiler holds around 10 to 12 litres of fresh water, and then from your boiler it will pump it through to the tap. Once you've done that, you've got a steady flow again, shut the tap, and basically your water system is ready to use when you need. The only thing you need to do is your boiler is not instant hot water, you do need to boil it. So that is just referring back to the Truma control panel to turn on your hot water to boil it. And then obviously you've got hot water on demand when needed. We have got here a 3-ring gas burner. One safety advice we do recommend is this glass cover here, is to leave this glass cover up after use of the stove, just to let the stove cool down. If you've got the window open at the back, because of the temperature difference blowing onto the back, it could potentially shatter the glass because of the heat temperature difference. Obviously we've got your knobs here, we've got a heat shield here for the oven, so it's not going to burn these knobs. Got an igniter, again your igniter's on your 12 volt system, and then obviously your oven and grill controls here. Just so you know, every window has blackout blinds and fly screen. The last part in the kitchen area is going to be your fridge freezer. And on these new B66s, they are now a compressor fridge. So quite straightforward for a compressor fridge. Basically a compressor fridge works off your leisure battery. To turn it on, press and hold the power button here and it will light up like so. The middle one here, you can change your temperature from low all the way to high, so the more blue dots you've got, the colder it will get. And then you've got 2 modes, you've got boost, and then you've got night mode, which reduces it. Basically, night mode reduces the speed of the RPM of the fan, so it runs a bit quieter. Obviously, you've got to remember, once this fridge has got to cold, plus all the cold items you put in it straight away, it does stay quite chilled all the way through the night, obviously going in night mode. But one thing I would recommend is, obviously, if it's the first time you're going out, turn on the fridge, get it up onto boost, just at least an hour before you're heading off. So obviously if you've got the facility at home to plug your motorhome in, plug it in. Obviously it's charging batteries up, it's giving you all the lights while you're obviously loading the motorhome up. But turn on the fridge because before you start, because at least that's getting cold before you set off. To turn this off, all you need to do is press and hold and it will shut down. I say. I think you have to hold it for about 8 seconds or so. There we go. It's quite a long time, to be fair. But press and hold must be about 8 seconds or so, and it will then shut down. But like I said, this fridge and freezer runs off your leisure battery. Got some storage above. So here we've got obviously your twin single beds, but this does make up into a larger bed space. All you need to do, pull this out, and basically this cushion here slides forward, and the back cushion, there is a gap it fills a hole in, push that in, and that makes up all your bed area here. In here, nicely stored away, is your bed ladder. So it's clipped up. All you need to do is push it down, slide that out, puts this little flap back down, and then your bed ladder hooks on here. Just going to try, and here below we've got a fold out step. So if you're not using the extension piece, I can't reach this cushion at the moment. See, as you can see there, that's the gap. So when this is all the way out, this cushion fits in that gap, so it's all level. But obviously if you're not using the infill piece, you've got this pull out step lower down. So all you need to do is pulls out there. You've got some storage in here as well. Storage in the second step. So if you're not using the infill piece, that's how you would obviously get into bed with the twin singles, or obviously if you want to make it larger bed space, you've got that option too. Got light switches up here, and obviously you've got 4 cupboards at the top, and then as you can see you've got a 12 volt rail, so that's running off 12 volt system off your battery, a little light. You can get a USB as well, so you can put a USB socket on these rails. So then obviously you've got USB points in the bed area as well. I think you may have, yeah you have, behind here USB and Type-C sockets as well. So you could obviously put your phone and charge up here, which is great. Like I said, all the windows, skylights, blackout blinds, fly screens. Open this, push this tab in, slide it all the way if you want it all the way open, or if you want it a little bit, just slide it into them little grooves there. Just be careful with these because one, they're expensive to replace, but they are delicate. To lock it into place, push this bar up and that is locked like so. I'm just going to put this step away. To put this step away you just need 2 hands for this. Just lift it up here and it just lifts up. It basically hooks in so it doesn't slide in and out. So when you pull it out it hooks in itself. All you need to do is lift it up slightly and it will slide back in. Left side here, got a pull out drawer. So obviously you've got some shelving, so it could be a shoe rack or something like so. And on the right hand side we have, you got a hanging rail, and then here that is where your 240 volt breaker is. So this is where you need to come and check if anything trips on the 240 volt side in the motorhome. All the latches on all the doors and stuff, you just need to push that button and it'll pop out to open, and to lock it, push it in, and that is locked the cabinet door. Got some light switches around here as well, which are doing the overhead cabinets. And then we have got up here 240 volt socket, 3-pin socket, 12 volt socket and an aerial sat. So you can get a TV bracket onto this wall here and have a TV up here as well. The last part is in the toilet area, shower cubicle. So on your toilet, if you want to use your toilet, here we've got a grey handle. Basically that grey handle is opening the toilet blade. Basically the blade at the bottom of the toilet, down there, that is opening the toilet cassette. So if that is left open, you won't be able to pull the cassette out. You need to make sure that blade's shut. You'd want to keep it shut anyway, just so obviously no smells are coming back up. At the back we have got a blue button. So the blue button is using your fresh water. That's your flush for the toilet. And then on that white pad as well, there will be a light which lights up. Basically you'll get a light indicator, orange/red, when the toilet cassette is full, and that just needs emptying out. In this cupboard here, right at the top, this is where your Wi-Fi router is. As you can see, that data point coming out to that TV area. So that is where you connect up to for the Wi-Fi. All the information on that will be in the data pack, as well as obviously double check on the handover with the salesperson. We've got obviously your wet room, got heated vents again in here, so this is heated, so if you've got any wet equipment you can dangle that down here. So you've got any wetsuits, put it in here, hang it in here. Obviously it's a wet room, so you can then obviously dry stuff out. Got your basin tap as well. You won't need to prime this. As soon as you open the tap, it's just going to pump water through the pipe work from the fresh water tank. And then obviously you've got your shower valve as well up to your shower head. And if you want to convert this into your shower cubicle, this here, all you need to do is push this tab in. This then swings the sink out of the way, so it creates a large cubicle, which is great. And then all you need to do, you've got a shower screen, a little shower screen here. All that needs to do is obviously shut your door, and then this shower curtain just comes to this side here and clips onto these magnets. So obviously it gives you a bit of, it's really protecting this door area, so obviously water's just staying into the shower tray below. Once finished, all you need to do is slide this back into place and just make sure that that tab is like so, so then it's not going to move in transit. So that is the instructional / overview video of this brand new 2026 model Burstner B66 690 TD. If you have any more questions, leave a comment below. You can always give us a call or drop us an email. We do have more of these in stock and landing with us from factory as well.